Simple as that.
Sick.
Yeah. Well, we have finally made it. The final week of 2022. And what a very unique, interesting, eye opening, forbidden door raising professional wrestling year it's been. More particularly for I like to look at the other companies beyond the Western side of things. And that's why this year I decided to do a bit of a year end perspective, but also a simple preview of Stardom, particularly Stardom Wonder Ring and their final show of the year for the second time, representing what they announced as Stardom Dream Queendom 2. And I believe it's available on a Abima pay per view. I believe it's on Stardom World and other outlets too. So that's what we're here to discuss. So hello, everybody. And I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday. And to those that are to the neighborhood up north and across the pond, happy Boxing Day. As I now send things over to my partner this evening to provide his insights and overall colorful takes on all things Japanese Joshi Pro Wrestling Stardom Galore. Please welcome for the first time ever to my simple brand, Firelord Kuzan, also a contributor for FTW Productions.
Oh
Kuzan, it's
yeah.
a pleasure.
Hello, how's it going? I think this is my second time here actually.
It
I
might
f-
be because I know that James Hebert, shout out to,
deal with a lot
again,
of people.
yeah,
Yeah.
he knows a lot of people. He does a lot of cross streaming, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of cross branding. So I mean,
Yep.
it wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, happy Boxing Day to you,
Oh,
as we
thank you.
talked about it earlier. And how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I appreciate the fact that you brought up Boxing Day. That's incredible. I haven't had like anyone other than like me actually notice that. No, it's cool. I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy to be talking about Stardom. This is the first time I've been able to actually have like a full blown discussion about like Stardom, because it's always kind of one of those things where you can get away with talking about New Japan and Japanese wrestling with like Western wrestling fans.
Right.
No one seems to care about like Joshi wrestling or like specifically Stardom. Um, but like it is such a wholesome, homegrown like project that has blossomed into such a flourishing partnership with I think they're with Bushiroad now. Correct me if I'm
Correct.
wrong now. They
Yep.
used to be partnered with DDT, who I believe are owned by Cyber Agent. DDT, if you don't know, are like incredible. They're hilarious, but they have fantastic matches.
DDT
Um,
Pro.
yeah. um, no, I've loved getting into Stardom ever since probably 2019. And to see where it is now is just like, wow, it's incredible that they got female wrestlers on a New Japan like product, you know?
Yeah. And the thing, the product we're talking about is literally the show that sets up New Japan Pro Wrestling for the year. It's literally the biggest night of the year in pro wrestling, January 4th. And of course, what he's alluding to is, and we'll also be back here next week, Monday night, to cover and discuss, folks, is Wrestle Kingdom 17. And the start time has already been put out on NGPWWorld.com, 1:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So set your clocks accordingly, whether you're in the Pacific, Eastern, or Prime Meridian, or British Standard Time. So with that being said, yeah, like I said, when it came to me and a Stardom, because I've always been one to look at all things wrestling. Of course, shout out to my ATW family across all social media platforms, particularly the Twitter. Uh, for me, my first exposure to know what Stardom was, or a personality from it, was Miley Iwatani when she came across Ring of Honor, of course, defending the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship at the time, after taking off the gatekeeper, Kelly Klein, who, of course, got back. And both women demonstrated what that title meant, but also what women's wrestling could be at G1 Supercard, despite the events that followed afterwards. And then looking at Mayu Itami, seeing this bright, colorful, very unorthodox, but very physical character and highly proficient professional wrestler, I looked more into Stardom Wonder Ring and Stardom World, and I learned about these names I knew. Names included but not limited to Jamie Hayter, the current AEW Women's World Champion, Tony Storm, the former, Bea Priestley, as we discussed, among others like Kaylee Ray and Piper Niven, going all the way back to even Medusa at one point. And then learning the likes of Io Shirai and Kyrie, who's there now, but were there literally when this company began, seeing how far this place has flourished 11 years despite politics. At one point, it was like, in the dark, but as the known
Oh
three
boy.
daughters of Stardom, Mayu Itami, Io Shirai, and Kyrie, literally brought this company to the forefront. Mayu literally the icon, why Tanahashi is the ace of New Japan. it's amazing how many different similar retrospectives I see between both Stardom and NJPW, which is why I think when they partnered with Bushi Road, it was almost like the alliance that was meant to be. When you put aside, politics and controversy and all the other madness that brings down the wrestling industry, it's been a beautiful thing to see what Stardom has done, as I've fairly much so followed it since 2019. Like you, I think about last year, the World of Stardom Championships. We'll talk about the main event. Utami Hayashida, who has been absolutely phenomenal. She is royale to a degree last year in 2021. And seeing how this is the second time she's going to be involved in the show, but not coming in as champion, which really set up 2022 to begin with for our main event, it's truly something special to see. And after this, yeah, at Wrestle Kingdom, we literally have Stardom presented once again, but this time it's presented under IWGP, which is crazy in its own right. It just goes to show that, again, the worlds of wrestling are not bound by anything, not bound by gender, not bound by language barrier. Professional wrestling is professional wrestling and can coexist with others in professional wrestling. As far as the case on the Western side, I feel it's just one of those things where it may not be so exposed to the point you don't have that personality here. So now with the IWGP Women's Championship, and I heard that's supposed to be more of a focal point on GPW standards, like maybe Strong or maybe on US premium live events or pay-per-views, maybe that more so can become a thing. So that's just my brief summary as far as my knowledge, interest, and retrospective into Stardom. So I really do appreciate your take.
Yeah. So again, going off of what you said to do with like comparing Stardom to like other Western companies, where
Right.
I guess you could say like there's a little bit of like tribalism, I would say.
Unfortunately, that's just a problem across the world. But more so, I was looking at the fact that look at their event calendar, similar
Yeah.
times, similar events, similar routines, similar schemes. Stardom and NJPW kind of share one and the same. From the New Japan Cup to the Cinderella Tournament to the 5-star Grand Prix, the G1 Climax to the World Tag League to the Goddesses Tag League. Again, it's surprising how much Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling, from a foundational standpoint, show a lot of the same principles, especially when it comes down to strong style and strong spirits.
Well, yeah, you have to look at the culture of Japan in general. Like, so I know for a fact that, like, obviously during January, a lot of wrestling companies in Japan are running shows because they want to get the lead up to either just before or after the week of like Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
And when you look at like how each company kind of works together, because they don't really compete that much, they just want to make it so it's easier, it's a lot more easier to access their product as
Right.
well as access, the other companies. Japanese culture with wrestling is a lot different,
It's
you
much
know?
more restrained and I feel respected and more collaborative, less
Yeah.
cutthroat. And I clearly can see that. And you're talking about other shows. I mean, we're talking about Wrestle Kingdom next. We were talking about Star on the Night. You talk about Pro Wrestling Noah. That's of course got the Great Muda and the Kaiji Muto and so much more going for it as well. I believe Shinsuke Nakamura will be facing Kaiji Muto there
I
during
completely
their
forgot about that.
New Year's show. Well,
I
shout out to my
completely
friend
forgot about.
Elizabeth. She is definitely one that keeps me up with pro wrestling and Noah because, again, I only have so much time to watch everything. You talked about the exposure of Joshi Pro, the respect to DDT. I mean, Konosuke Takeshita just had a banger of a match with Frankie Kazarian on AEW Elevation. You talk about Little Bright Riho, the inaugural AEW Women's World Champion. Of course, previously was involved in Stardom as well. You talk
Mhm.
about Ryo Mitsunami. You talk about Hikaru Shida. Those literally bring Joshi Pro. You talk about Mina, who wants to challenge Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. So it's almost like AEW is trying to bring more of a focal point to that Joshi Pro style, which I can appreciate. I mean, my first exposure to Joshi Pro outside Stardom was literally Double or Nothing in 2019, and I just can't wait to see Ryo Mitsunami again, who almost retired. If it wasn't for AEW, she would have stopped.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people's like interaction, like their first interaction with any kind of Joshi wrestling will be from AEW. And like that's cool, that's fine.
Right.
Um but like the issue with that, and I don't want to like bring in negativity to this straight away. I just want to make this like quick point.
Go ahead.
The difference in putting on the matches that they were putting on in AEW, they're kind of feeding towards a Western audience. When you feed to like a Japanese audience, you have a lot more give and a little bit more like forgiveness. You can kind of express yourself a lot more, not take yourself as seriously. But when the match starts and you're hard hitting and like people are kicking each other, like, yeah, there'll be some flips, but depending on the different styles, being able to see people like Kairi Sane be able to do the stuff that she does now rather than what she's done in WWE,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so happy that she didn't just retire, that she just left WWE, because she is absolutely making a killing with her like character now. You can tell she's having fun, and I'm so happy. It just makes me so happy when I watch Stardom specifically and seeing the characters, and when you finally understand what's going on, it's like this little underground thing that it really isn't an underground thing anymore because they're owned by Bushiroad and
Well,
they're
yeah, so they're
yeah
a bit more exposed.
yeah, but like the way that that all like feels and the atmosphere that it makes, and that's something that like is really kind of missed upon now, is like a good atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
for an audience, not just for like people sitting there, but for you watching. You need that really heartwarming, good feeling environment, and
Yeah.
especially like when you're a gaijin.
Well, again, like we talked about previously, the Gaijin is definitely extremely focused upon the Japanese pro wrestling atmosphere,
Mhm.
especially at Stardom. And you talked about, kicks. I mean, high kicks, the lucha background, aerial offense, schoolboy suplexes galore. They are literally foundations of Stardom. If the New Japan Dojo system is the foundation of the Boston Crab, then I would say that New Blood, Joshi Pro, the Stardom system, where the students learn from the masters, it's got to be high kicks and Northern Light and schoolboy suplexes for them. But it's just really something to behold. And again, like you talk about atmosphere, yes, it's restrained, but it still is very respective and very supportive. So to know that we are going to get a Stardom Championship level match under IWGP at Wrestle Kingdom with a more free to express themselves audience in the Tokyo Dome is going to be something to behold for the first time that Stardom's going to be actually on our screens. But before we get there, apologies, we've been jabbing on folks. But again, this is one of the very first things I've ever done for my channel. And I do feel like, as he alluded to, it's important to understand why we are here to talk about this company, this foundation of pro wrestling, and this show. So I hope, if nothing else, if you all did tune in, whether live or on demand, thank you again. I hope that you all do give Stardom a chance, even on their YouTube. Yes, it's in Japanese, but again, there is no language barrier to pro wrestling. I just wish they would actually show actual full matches and not cut to bits of commercial in between. But
I think
that
one guy runs that show, by the way. There is one guy who does the English translating and deals with that website.
That's
Because
impressive.
Stardom have been struggling for a long time with getting English speaking wrestling fans. Well, like not just commentators, but like getting wrestling fans into their product.
Right.
And now I feel like because they have the backing of New Japan, it's going to be a lot easier for them.
Well, with people like Chris Charlton there to help, I feel like that's definitely got to be a thing. What is surprising if Chris Charlton starts putting that in like NJPW Extra or does like a Stardom maybe like stance point. Again, Chris Charlton does a lot. Respect. All right. Well, that being said, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the main point of our discussion, too. So, again, we are here to discuss Stardom's last show of the year, their super show, how fitting before Wrestle Kingdom. We have Stardom Dream Queendom, where championships are to be determined, pride will be tested, and so much more. We're going to go ahead and start with something that's been a little bit of fun. Again, I talk about tradition, I talk about similarities. Well, you got the New Japan Rumble. Stardom has their Rumble. And this, of course, is similar to what happened at the NJPW Stardom crossover show. And we saw the likes of Super Strong Stardom Machine there, X. We saw Miyu Amisaka, Lady C, Hina, Rina, Chairman Ram. Apologize if I screwed up these names. Waka, Tasukiyama. And I do hope she's on English commentary again for the Wrestle Kingdom IWGP Women's Championship match. Just putting it out there. Fukigen and I believe at the crossover show, it was Mirai who really has been a standout her own right this year. Of course, joining a faction as well, and also Cinderella champion. That won that Rumble. They call it Ramble, but this is going to be the Stardom Rumble. Kuzan, what's your thoughts towards this? When I look at these rumbles, however you want to call it, again, they're chaos. They're a multi-person melee over the top rope, pinfall submission. You're eliminated, but not necessarily nothing's on the line. But I do feel like on a battleground of faction warfare and maybe proving where you stand, it's important to win this. Who you think maybe needs this based on the field that's kind of known, or maybe a person that maybe you see on New Blood that you think could be in this? Can you see maybe colors or prominence, maybe someone involved in this? What's your thoughts towards this?
So I will be straight up front with you.
Go
There
ahead.
is not a lot of people that I actually know in this like battle royal. I guess you can call
Well,
it. Just put it
it's a
face value.
hodgepodge of names.
Yeah.
No one knows all the names. So your guess is good
Um,
as mine. I just named a few because shout out to some sources I did as far as research goes, including that limited to, apologize if I screw up the name, Prioresu. They had a great preview article. Karen Peters has some great articles regarding the main event on NJPW World. I, of course, also looked at an interview for Julia with Scott Edwards, Fightful. So just want to, give the respect where it is. Anyway, continue.
No, it's a really good way. Like, if you want to like break this down to its most basic
Yeah.
like mentality of this, right? This is a really good way for people to like they've just tuned into it and they don't know what's going on. This is a really good way to pick your favorites, And I really think that when you break it down to its like bare bones, like its pure core,
But basic.
I think what you're going to see a lot of is a lot of definition to do with who's in what faction, who's getting along in those factions, who's actually having a little bit of a sneak of a rivalry, who are best friends. Like that kind of stuff goes a long way with storytelling. Something that like kind of gets lacked in Japanese wrestling is you kind of have to really look between the lines when finding the story, but it is there. It is there. You just have to find it.
Right.
It usually it comes down to who is your favorite wrestler and who is your favorite faction. So like again, I don't know what the stories are going into this.
Yeah.
All I know is that I know a lot of the veterans that are in this. Obviously, the Stars faction. From what I know, I think they have something of like they have three wrestlers from that group facing three other wrestlers on a
Yep,
different
that'll
match,
be in a
right?
match we'll talk
Yeah.
about on the main card.
Just
Like you said, a lot
yeah.
of the factions, like key names that we do know, will be on the main card. So honestly, it could be a proving ground for maybe some of the new blood people.
Exactly, yeah. And like I think the thing is with Stardom that you always need to think about, it doesn't matter whether you've like missed how many years, you can just jump in whenever, And that's the best thing to just jump in. You will figure it out,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Lady C on this one because I know she's not involved in the main card, but I've been seeing some of her work. I know she was involved in the six-woman tag at the crossover on the winning side of things, representative of Queen's Quest. And you talk about faction warfare, of course, Stardom's now expanded out to 6 factions. We have Stars, Oedo Tai, Cosmic Angels, Donna Del Mundo, God's Eye, trying to figure the right Queen's Quest, and then there's one other that's eluding me right now, but I can't think of it.
See, this is the thing, right? With so when I got into Stardom, it was Tokyo Joshi. It was a Tokyo Cyber Squad.
Tokyo Cyber Squad. Yes.
Stars, Edo Tai, and what's
Queen's
the other
Quest?
one? Queen's Quest, yes. That they were the 4 factions that were in Stardom.
Right.
Now it's like there are names I'm looking at I've never heard of, right? Again, I've watched the last pay-per-view and I watched some stuff last year, but that's about it because mainly what I've been watching with like Joshi wrestling is Choco Pro and stuff that's happening in DDT.
Shout out to Emi Sakura, by the way.
Yeah. Like a lot of that stuff that they do, there's a lot of collaborations that are going on, and like a lot of people getting dragged into AEW and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So looking at their core product, it's kind of hard to like figure out what's going on really. But like the main thing what I will say is that Queen's Quest seem to be running roughshod. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lady C, is she in Queen's Quest?
Yeah, she actually
Yeah,
became part of Queen's Quest. I literally believe this year, which kind of surprised me based on what I thought about Lady C at the time. I thought she was going to be part of like Stars actually, but she's really
yeah,
come into her own as part of Queen's Quest, including tagging alongside Sama Kamatani when it came to challenging a Kyrie and a former name that is back in Stardom as well. There's been a lot of former names, for example, that's come back in the fold, such as Hazuki, who's a part of Stars, who has also been very impressive this year. Like you said, there's been a lot of new names to come forward and some old names to return.
yeah. Like I say, I watched Lady C for the first time when she took part in the Future of Stardom Championship tournament. I believe that was in 2021.
2021. Yep.
Yeah. Um, and like from what I saw, I was like, wow, like she needs to be in Queen's Quest. She has to be, you know. And here she is now, like in full like character, and she's blossoming beautifully. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. Lady C is probably the one to pick.
Well, I mean, again, she already went through the future of Stardom tournament, had a chance to go for that belt, and it looks like she's coming to her own as part of the Queen's Quest faction. So we could see maybe her, maybe a future Goddess Tag Team champion, maybe a future challenger for the white belt, which we'll talk about later, which of course is the Wonder of Stardom Championship. But yeah, I think Lady C is going to be my pick for this thing because she's been the one that I've come to see her growth the most based on what I've watched. Whether she was involved, of course, in the five-star Grand Prix and in tag team affairs, or even in the Goddess League with an impromptu tag team with somebody in Donna Del Mundo, my fair lady. Well, that worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh, jeez. Sometimes when Stardom does these interpromotional alliances, they don't go great. They're unique, but they don't go great. Definitely interesting.
Stardom seems to work best when they're doing their own thing. When other people seem to get involved, I might be wrong. The New Japan stuff might go really well, but when they're doing their own thing, just let them do their own thing, man. They're so good at what they do. They're like a family. They literally are like a family.
If Julia's interview with the discussion of she wants to go wrestle across other promotions and represent
Mhm.
Stardom, believes the potential of Stardom. Yeah, I do truly, even with a little tie and their outlook, I
Yeah.
do truly feel like Stardom is a family about bringing forward the Stardom brand, what they created, what they are. And
That's what
Sakamatani has
yeah.
been a definition of that, to say the least.
That's the definition of that, is bringing like the word of Stardom around and how amazing they are,
Exactly.
taking that brand with you as you go across the world.
Well, we'll know soon enough in 2023, but we still have to get the rest of 2022. But yeah, Lady C for this. Apologies, by the way, I couldn't find a graphic for it, but I actually did find graphics for everything else, so that
Oh,
worked out.
nice.
So the next match, which will actually be on the main show, is going to be unique in its own right, as it's going to be a tag team affair. It will be the returning Mina Shirakawa and Unagi Sayaka versus Mai Sakurai and Thekla. Of course, Mai Sakurai is a former member of the group that Mina and Unagi are part of, which of course is Cosmic Angels. But she defected and went to Donna Del Mundo. And her and Julia, particularly, they've kind of really hit it off. They're both total opposites, but there's been some uniqueness that's definitely worked in her favor. We've seen how Mai, Thekla, Micah, Himeka have come together as the current members of Donna Del Mundo. But the unique thing about this match is Mina is coming back after a very nasty jaw injury off the Phoenix Splash by Saya Kamatani after she last challenged her for the White Championship. And Unagi, apologies again if I mispronounce these names. She, of course, has not been involved lately. She's been doing her stuff independently. And then you have Mai Sakurai, who's definitely improved, being part of Donna Del Mundo. So I do feel like for Mina and Unagi, there's maybe a bit of revenge they might be looking forward to, particularly against Mai Sakurai. And as far as Thekla, former SWA champion, which of course right now the title is vacant, Mai Thekla, they might be out to prove a point against Donald Del Mondo, set the pace for the night, and show that they are the dominant faction to look out for. And 2023. So, what's your thoughts towards this tag team match here, Kuzan?
I want to ask a question actually. How come that belt is vacated?
So, Mayu Iwatani decided to vacate the SWA, the Stardom World Association Championship, to focus on pursuing the IWGP Women's Championship to send out the name of Stardom and herself as the icon out even further. Unfortunately, we saw what happened at the crossover in a losing effort.
Yeah.
So she vacated, and so far there's been nothing announced as far as the tournament or how to crown new champion or who the participants can be.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough.
She basically just put it all on the line. She went she went all or nothing and fell short. By the way, hell of a match, by the way. Jesus. Anyway, back to your thoughts towards this.
I love Sayaka. I love her like style. I love like her whole mannerisms. Because this is like the stuff that I always look at is like from what I remember, she was a former Artist of Stardom champion and a future Stardom championship. I love the future of Stardom championship. I think it's a great concept. Yeah, she's been doing pretty well for herself, to be honest, on the Japanese independent circuit. Yeah, she went to what was it called?
Oh boy, we're gonna try and name promotions.
GTO, Just Tap Out, I believe.
Taka Michinoku's.
Yes, and apparently she did really well. Maybe not in victories, but she did really well there. She made a really good impression, and like honestly, anything that she does is gold to me. You know, keep in mind these women are really young. You know, like these fucking they're 33, but they're like just making their way through like the prime of their like careers now.
And then there's some literally that just broke 20 that had literally just started in Stardom. I've already wrestled for 10 years. Natsupoi was actually the most experienced member brought into Donna Del Mundo.
That's crazy to me, honestly. That is honestly crazy to me because like a lot of people that come into Stardom, they're quite young, usually. But like to see specifically Sayaka see what she's done on the independents on her own, and now she's coming back for Cosmetic Angels. I think honestly, Cosmetic Angels is going to do really well.
Well, also to put this in perspective, last year, literally 1 year ago, think about this: the first Dream Queendom, Mai Sakurai and Mina Shirakawa were tag teams as a tag team, Pink Kabuki. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, retrospective, full circle. I think this is going to come down to the condition, though, of Mina Shirakawa, and particularly her jaw on her face. According to what I read at the press conference, she was literally wearing a mask. So I don't know if she's coming into this 100%, and also that puts a blatant target on her. But yeah, it's one of those things where I look at these four, I think about Mai Sakurai, she defected to DDM, and Mina Shirakawa and Nagi Sayaka. Sayaka's been putting in the work. Mina has definitely risen. Still can't believe she beat Saya during the G1. That shocked the hell out of me. But we've seen how far she's come. I think, yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go here with the upset. I think it's gonna be like an upset with Cosmic Angels here. I think we're gonna get like a surprise, kind of like what happened at one point during the World Tag League with Micah and Himeka versus the winners that won. That people are like, these two won the league. But again, we'll talk more about that later. Again, Micah, she's definitely the strongest in Stardom. No doubt about that, as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's go ahead and move into our next match, which actually is a preview towards the tournament. Talk about tournaments they announced to really bring our focus towards trios, the Triangle Derby. And here we got a Triangle Derby preview, but what's unique about this Triangle Derby preview, it's an all-stars showcase. One faction in particular, 3-on-3. The veterans versus the newcomers, or I would say the up-and-comers to a degree. A key thing to think about here, though, is Mayu Iwatani, though, might be having a bit of a conflict with one member in her faction. But we'll see how that goes. So in this match, it's Mayu Iwatani tagging along Hannah. The previous, you talk about the Future Stardom Championship. She has held that title successfully for 10 defenses, but just lost it. Incredible effort and run, by the way. Most defenses with that title. Congrats to her. Tagging alongside Momokogo. they take on the team of Hazuki and Koguma, former Gas Tag Team Champions in their own right, and Sayida. A key thing to think about here, though, is lately Mayu and Momo, they've had a bit of tips, it looks like. They haven't been really getting on the same page. And of course, with the fact that these trios will be involved in the Triangle Derby, again, tag team cohesion is key. You want to talk about battle of families, it's literally a family affair. So what's your thoughts towards this match?
I love the fact that they've pitched veterans against more newcomers of stars. Because again, this is my generation of like watching Stardom. I've watched Mayu Iwatani, and I've watched Momo, and I love Hana. Hana now. That's always like a really like struggle for me to like get that name right for some reason. It's like one word.
Yeah, I know. Hana. Well,
Yeah.
again, we try our best. Again,
all
folks,
I hear in the crowd is just like Hana. You know,
exactly.
That's all I hear. No,
yeah.
for me, this is something for me to really chew on. I'm really looking forward to this. And you have what's going on between Mayu and Momo. So, which is surprising to me, honestly, because they always seem to like get along. From what I remember, correct me if I'm wrong. If like something happened during like 2019 that I completely missed, and 2020 as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot happened probably in 2020, and I feel like a lot of stuff we don't necessarily see on screen in the ring.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I'm from what I remember watching, there was a match between those two for the Wonder of Stardom title.
The white belt.
Yeah, it was this was in 2018, I think. And they were quite young from what I remember, and they were really getting their feet in the ground, and really coming into their own, because not only like were they finally like setting themselves up to show what they can do, they were also ready to compete with the other factions. So yeah, I'm really interested in this match. Again, it's stars versus stars, and I'm interested to see what happens afterwards as well, not just this match.
Yeah, and again, Hazuki, who came back to Stardom recently, had a hell of a year, great run during the 5-star Grand Prix. I feel she definitely will be the force to listen to as far as the one that guides the trio on that side of things. And of course, Maritami, she literally is the leader, creator of Stars. She is the icon, been there since day one. So it more so could just come down to maybe Mayu and Hazuki going one-on-one, which honestly I wouldn't mind seeing. But as far as what this goes, maybe this match will determine what trios is more particularly going to represent Stars in the Triangle Derby. That literally will start right before Wrestle Kingdom. But again, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. And
Faction
again,
dominance.
you think about this undercard, call it what it is. It kind of just previews like what's ahead, kind of gives you an idea of who's there, kind of puts some things in the retrospective when you look at the year round. Now we're going to get into some actual title affairs or title contention affairs with this number one contenders 3-way tag. And again, faction warfare. It's God's Eye versus Donna Del Mundo versus Natsuka Toro and Raka. I apologize if I messed that up. But basically, that I tried. But basically, these three trios. Oh, excuse me. By the way, for those that don't know, the last trio, it's Oedo Tai. These three trios are going to be going at to see who will be the new number one contenders towards the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships. Of course, we recently saw Ami and Mirai challenge the current champions in a very good match, but they fell short after Mirai was folded up like a freaking pretzel. We've seen how strong of a duo Micah and Himeka are. In fact, it was Micah and Himeka who had the best block match during the 5-star Grand Prix that went to a 15-minute draw. And if that didn't happen, Micah could have very well been involved in the finals. And despite Oedo Tai and their screw the rules nonsense, when they got serious, these two, they actually were a force to be reckoned with. They had a pretty good score. So I look at it like this. God's Eye has familiarity. They've been up against the tag team champions. Micah and Himeka, that's probably what most people's picks to probably win the daggum thing. And they have been a force to be reckoned with against each other or with one another. And Oedo Tai, they're always just there to cause chaos, pun intended. But I don't know necessarily if I could see them going after the tag team championships. Not as much as Black Desire, anyway, who were previous tag team champions earlier this year. Of course, talking about Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe, who took them off Hazuki and Kogoma before they lost them to what became Mita, Natsupoi and Tam Nakano. I think I kind of want to see the God's Eye match back again, but again, looking at what could be the theme of the night, I'm actually thinking that Donna Del Mundo might surprise us here and get the better. It was two Donna Del Mundo teams and the tag champs that went to a 15-minute draw in triple threat tag team action earlier this year during the Goddess Tag League. And more so, I feel that was like Natsupoi going up against her former family. And I saw what happened during that fallout, particularly with Thekla. I feel like finally that's been settled. But yeah, I feel like I feel like Donna Del Mundo probably is going to be my pick to go here after the tag titles. What's your thoughts towards this?
I would say I'm gonna put my money on BMI 2000
Really?
because, yeah, because hot damn, they not for nothing, they are like the big impression that I get is I get Kagetsu vibes off of her, off of
Definitely
these
fair.
two. It's
Yeah.
you can see it. You can definitely see it.
You're not wrong. When they
Yeah,
actually
especially
take it seriously, you're not wrong.
So like that is what I would put my money on. Again, not understanding what's like probably fully going on at the moment, but like I know with Oedo Tai, they when they take it seriously, they take it seriously. But like the main thing is that they want to screw things up for everyone else. They want
Exactly.
everything to go wrong. They want to derail everything. But at the same time, they obviously want to make sure that they're being respected. So maybe like taking this seriously is the way to go. You know, I think probably it's time.
All right. Give Oedo Tai a bit of shine there. See if a different duo can maybe claim the Goddesses Tag Team Championships that once Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe had. And again, since Momo Watanabe joined Oedo Tai, she's still forced to be reckoned with, whether it's a bat or a wrench, but I digress. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about a very unique match here where there is no title on the line except maybe your pride, which is probably the most important title of them all. And they have 15 minutes to decide it. So put that in perspective. Because not semi-main, but right in the dead middle of the card, it is the current first ever IWGP Women's Champion, Kairi, versus the previous holder of the World of Stardom Championship, Queen's Quest, Utami Hayashita. And this is the first time ever these two will go one-on-one. The only other encounter these two had was literally earlier this year when Utami made her return back, and it was Kairi and Tam Nakano tagging together, defeating Queen's Quest, Utami Hayashita, and Miyu Amasaki. So there's not really much background here besides the fact that Utami says, congrats, you are the champion, but I'm not going to challenge you for the title because I know you beat me during the earlier this year, and I have not qualified myself to challenge you for this championship as I lost out to Mayu Iwatani in the finals. However, I am still the top talent here in Stardom, and I'm going to show you what I'm about. And another note that was added here, the loser must wear their rookie gear and make their entrance with no music or theatrics for an undisclosed amount of time.
That's awesome. That is such a good gimmick.
The shame that will or the humbling that could come from this. And again, 15-minute time limit could go to a draw. So honestly, could protect both. And the fact that Kairi, literally right before this, a week later, is defending the IWGP Women's Championship against Tam Nakano. That's gotta be playing her psyche. I don't think she's looking past Utami Hayashita because besides Mayu Utami, you don't look past the freaking Queen of Roses in Queen's Quest.
Yeah.
I feel like though you gotta protect both here because again, Utami, she's had a bit of an up and down this year. Previously challenged for the white belt, falling short in the 5-star Grand Prix. They fell short in a 30-minute time limit draw for the Artists of Stardom Trios Championships. I'm torn on this one, Kuza. What's your thoughts towards this?
So, I love Hayashi. That's usually what I shorten her name to is Hayashi.
Fair enough.
It's a lot easier to say. Um, Hayashi is really good, and she's been really good for a long time. Obviously, Kairi, formerly known as Kairi Sane, from WWE, done wonders in since she's come back. The fact that she's not defending the belt,
No.
and the fact that Hayashi never requested it. This is pure Hayashi mind games. This is what you need to think about, because the focus here, it's not about what happens in this match, it's what's going to happen to Kairi later on. And that is such good long-term booking. It is so nice to see something so refreshing, because the threat of like being embarrassed, even when you're like IWGP Women's Champion, that is like, boy, that goes a long way in Japan. The presentation, your costume, your whole persona, you have all of that stripped away, and you're just a body,
Yeah.
and you're going
young
around as
lion.
like you're a rookie, like you're nothing, you're lesser than. And in terms of like a whole country that represents itself on having respect for yourself, having pride for yourself, to be walking around with the IWGP Women's Championship with a rookie outfit. Damn. So this is very well booked. I am really excited for this and for what could happen later on.
I think about Minoru Suzuki, who lost his hair to Hiroki Goto at Wrestle Kingdom over the Never Openweight Championship. I think about Julia, who's been through hell and back, that lost her hair early in her first coming to Stardom, feuding with Tam Nakano, the woman she beat this year, to win the 5-star Grand Prix. So
she made it look good though, which is really like she made that look really good, which kind of like defeated the whole punishment. So...
Not gonna lie, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, this is one of those feints where it's like, Kairi, the biggest threat to you right now is not Tam Nakano for your title. It is not even me. It is the clock. Because not only do you have to try and out-wrestle me, you have to try and outlast against me. So I do feel like there is more pressure here on Kairi than Utami.
Hayashi is basically saying, I'm not going to take a piece of gold from you, but I'm going to take a piece of you with me. I'm taking that away from you.
And that's more valuable than any championship.
That's worth way more. Like, look at the work that Kairi has put in. Look at the career she's had. And then to take all that away just to say, you are nothing. You are absolute nothing.
You are below me.
Yeah. Not just that, but like, you are worthless. You are like trash. You are less than trash. You are nothing compared to the queen.
And this is one of the original 3, might I add, daughters of Stardom that brought this company to prominence in the first place.
Absolute disrespect. Absolutely. It is a perfectly booked match. That is great.
Yeah. It just goes to show you don't need a classic that goes up to 60 minutes or even over 30 minutes to have something that could be memorable.
This is why Stardom is good. This is why Japanese wrestling is good, because of stuff like this.
Yeah. And again, 15 minutes. What can you do in 15 minutes? We're going to find out soon enough, and I can't wait. And again, folks, you want to watch this show, I believe it's on Stardom World, but you might have to order it via pay-per-view Bima service. And I think there's also a separate pay-per-view service that also offers it too. So if you can,
Stardom have a website.
Yep, they have a website. So if you can, please try and tune in to this. Unfortunately, I work the extra day it's live. Dang it. So I have to watch it the next day, but I definitely cannot wait to watch this. Maybe review it too. We'll see. Depends on our schedules. All right. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward for this card now that we're going to get into some championship affairs here. And it looks like the next match here is Oh boy. There's always that title I've noticed, especially in these Japanese promotions, that's a standout, a unique class of its own, unique showcasing. I think about Smash Mouth, Never Say Die, Never Quick Attitude, what the Neverweight Championship once was. May it one day be restored to that. Ishii, save me.
Mhm.
But I think about in Stardom, they focus on cardio, they focus on endurance, they focus on velocity. So it's only fitting that up next is represented the High Speed Championship. Current two-time holder, Asume, represents Queen's Quest. This is unique, like I said, in its own right. She is defending it against not somebody from Stardom's original roster, but outside of it, representing colors. Hikari Shimizu. And this will be Asume's ninth attempted defense of this run. She already has beaten her previous run, which was only 4, and is currently tied Hasuke's run at 8 defenses. The current run holder for the most defenses is, you guessed it, Mayu Iwatani. And of course, we saw Asume take this title earlier this year from Starlight Kid, who I feel like at this point they are rivals forever. So again, when I look at this show, I think about these title matches and I think about this interpromotional warfare, new blood showing, and other stuff. It's one of those things where I don't think you can write off Hikari just because she's an unknown, because while she's been impressive, she also can be a bit dirty. And while she says she will fight honorably, the last time she was involved in a match, she blasted a referee with a fireball in the face. So
Oh.
that being said, Asume, she might need to watch her back. But I do feel like Asume right now, she calls herself the daughter of high speed for a reason. She is, again, two-time high-speed champion. I think she's going to continue to set the pace for this title and a class of wrestling in its own right. I think she is going to successfully retain. What's your thoughts towards this?
Yeah, I love Azumi. She's great. She's honestly like she's fantastic. Like anything that she does is like again high speed. You know, it.
Definition.
Yeah, it like I feel like this belt was made for her in a way. Um, and like for I'll be honest, like I don't actually know who her opponent is. I don't know anything about her.
And she's
Um,
recently, again, she's new on the scene. She represents Colors, again, another outside promotion foundation that has been involved in Stardom this year, more so been involved in the New Blood side of things, and kind of has a bit of a dirty background when it comes to her in-ring capabilities at times. She will do anything, it seems, to win, but as I already told Asume, I will win fair and square against you. Take that
how
for what you
very
will.
how very Queen's Quest of you.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna
exactly.
say. How
Hell
very
down.
Queen's Quest of you, yeah. So yeah, I feel like after this match, they're probably gonna have some discussions, maybe, depending on how things go. Or it'll just go out into a full blown rivalry where it's I hate you, you hate me, but it's kind of a situation of you hate yourself, you know, and there can only be one. So no, Azumi, I feel like is incredible. She's always been incredible.
Yeah, for Hikaru to beat the champion here, she's gonna have to be as fast, if not faster, than her, and that's something you really gotta try and hold up to. That is easier said than done against the likes of Sumi. Although she's had a recent excursion in Mexico, so she's definitely been tested. So we'll see what this person can bring forward to the champion. I'm more so curious about this match rather than like suspension of disbelief. All right. Moving on from there, going into more championship defenses, we talk about the Triangle Derby representing trios. Let's talk about the very tiles that represent the trios themselves. As the, let me get this right, the Artists of Stardom Championships, almost said the wrong word, are on the line once again as Oedo Ties, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Saki Kashima, who again been impressive her own right, especially during the 5-star Grand Prix with some major upset wins. They defend the titles now against, Prominence. And this match is a hardcore match. Risa Sera, Suzu Suzuki, and Karomu Hiragi. They are the 27th champs currently with 5 defenses so far. Their last defense literally saved by the clock with a 30-minute draw against Queen's Quest. Utami, Saya, Kamitani, and I believe Asume. And again, these tiles will be, of course, the representation of the Triangle Derby and what everyone will be going after. Prominence, though, this is their playground. They are that 5 group of renegades. But since being involved in Stardom since January, particularly Risa Siri and Suzuki, they have definitely made a name for themselves. I mean, literally, Risa challenged Siri, which we'll talk about in the main event, for the red belt Why Suzuki, she literally had match of her block against Saya Kamitani. And of course, renewing hostilities with Julia, which we'll talk more about later. So this right here, though, I do think about the champs' moxie and their confidence, but you're on. While Tai is also about hardcore, the prominence people live off hardcore environments, and this could be Oedo Tai's undoing. What's your thoughts towards this?
So, I know the only thing I know about Prominence is that they came from Ice Ribbon.
Correct.
From what I know, that is the only thing that I know about them. To be honest,
Fair enough.
I know about Suzuki,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and
She's crazy.
yeah, like I saw like one match, with these three from what I remember, or like from this faction,
Because
and it
they've
was
been
good.
putting their focus against Donna Del Mundo, particularly somebody they believe left them high and dry,
Yeah,
Julia.
yeah. I love Starlight Kid. I love Momo Watanabe. I adore Kashima, and I think honestly, this pairing that they've made in Oedo Tai, I never thought like there would ever be a time where Starlight Kid would really find herself, and I'm really proud of what they've done. Um, I, I'll be honest, I don't like three-way matches. I really don't like trios championships. It's a just personal opinion, and that's not to say that this isn't going to be good.
Right.
Um, but what I will say is that Stardom has always treated their six women championship as something that should be recognized and that should be important. You
Right.
know, it's that final gem that needs to be there for a whole faction to get a full collection. Um, and I feel like if you want anyone on this team of Oedo Tai, it has to be Starlight Kid to be able to keep that championship. But
Hmm.
I don't know, man. Like Prominence seem pretty persistent.
That's kind
I
of their MO.
I don't know if Oedo Tai can really fight this one off. I think maybe they're gonna lose this, and maybe they can come back and like regain the titles.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I haven't got a lot of confidence, And I love Starlight Kid. I love Momo, you know. I don't know. I really don't know. I want to lie to myself and be like, it's gonna be okay. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah. When you consider the champs asked this to be hardcore, which literally plays as the challenger's favor because they literally live off hardcore background. It's literally Risa Sera that nearly took the red tile off Syria earlier this year to the point her own faction mates threw in the towel for her because she was literally being choked unconscious. And then you have Suzuki, who's legitimately crazy, who had some insane matches during the 5-star Grand Prix against the likes of Hazuki, Tam Nakano, and Julia. But the key thing here is one particular match, the Risa Sierra match against Saya Kamitani, where Saya surprised her and got the better of her. If she can pull up that flash revival pin maneuver that she got out of nowhere, because that's the thing about these matches. All you need, simple pinfall submission. Saya has that flash pinning move she can pull out like that. If she can trap somebody in that, I think the champs can come out on top. But again, I feel that Oedo Tai might be pushing themselves into a darker place than Oedo Tai is capable of. Because again, Prominence wrote the book on hardcore before Oedo Tai knew it was a thing. And all Oedo Tai uses is a briefcase, a bat, and a chair. I think
Mm,
Prominence has more
yeah.
to it besides a Singapore kendo stick.
I think Oedo Tai, if they want to come out on top of this, they really need to pull it together. They really need to play off of each other.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
Prominence lives off violence. Oedo Tai lives through chaos. I think violence can outlast chaos. I don't know. This is the one match where I could see the titles changing hands, if I'm perfectly honest. Why last year, Micah, Natsupoi, and Himeka, they retained the RS Stardom Championships against Cosmic Angels. And again, you talk about Japanese wrestling, you talk about places in history. You talk about streaks. This is only the second keyword. This company's 11 years old. This is only the second Stardom Dream Queendom actual event. So you don't have much of a benchmark to set for. You just got to look at the environment. And right now, based on what match type this is pro prominence. So good luck, Randall Ty. You're going to need it. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from there to another championship fair that, again, could surprise us. But I think it comes down to which team can hold back the combustible element, and why Tam Nakano and Natsupoi had some rocky ground to begin with, because I still feel like they had singles intentions towards maybe outshining each other, even why they became part of the same group. They really have come into their own to work as what they should be based on what they have. A tag team. Well, now we're going to truly see, based on their short-term experience, how far they have come. As Mita, the tag team champions, the goddess of Stardom tag team championships, Natsupoi and Tam Nakano, they defend the gold against this year's winners of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. And that was 7-Up, Yu and Nane Takahashi. And Yu has been kind of a bit of a hothead, to say the least, particularly against Donna Del Mundo. And of course, we saw Nane come in earlier this year, tagging alongside Kairi. Nanu, Bosh. This one right here, though, Nanu, of course, former two-time winner of this league, but necessarily has not held the gold, at least not to my knowledge. And while they definitely have a further experience as a tag team, we've seen how far Tam Nakano and Natsupoi came together, from the most brutal of rivalry to what probably is the cutest tag team in all professional wrestling. Keyword Kawaii of the Cosmos. What's your thoughts towards this match, Kuzan? Do you think that the tag champs can retain here? To put this in perspective, it looks like the tag team championships were, I don't think they were on the line actually last year. Nope, they weren't. So I guess we'll see who sets the benchmark here. But what do you think?
I will be honest. I have no idea who anyone is in this match.
That's fair.
I'll be full transparent with you. But from what I'm looking at, like looking through the records and everything, no, I would agree with you that like it's going to be a retain, because like this comes across to me as like a 90s All Japan women's style match.
Right.
Like the lineup of just what I'm seeing here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you look at like All Japan women's wrestling, this is kind of the stuff that you'd see, like two beautiful women who are the champions, who are willing to like keep the championships on themselves from just pure tag team experience, and then having two hosses that are just going to absolutely do anything that is going to like that it takes to get those titles,
Right. Try to destroy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny about this, when Natsupoi and Tam Nakano finally got together as a tag team, according to Tokyo Sports Tag Team Award, they literally were 1 point short in receiving the award, which went to Greto Khan, all hail, and Jeff Cobb. And I think that comes down to the fact that their chemistry wasn't on point in the beginning. But since they became the Goddess Stardom Tag Team Champions, and like I said earlier, successfully defending it so far against the likes of God's Eye, for example, Barai and Ami, they really have come into their own. And apparently they're going to have their own musical entrance live at the show too. So
that's
again,
cool.
How they're both coming together to create a revolution in their own right. When Tam Nakano came from the lowest of lows and breakdowns after losing the white belt last year to the person we're going to talk about here in a moment, to falling out the 5-star Grand Prix, to falling short for the red belt, to tagging alongside her fellow White Princess Pirate, I believe they're called, Kairi, and challenging her for the IWGP Women's Championship, which we'll talk about next week. Tam Nakano has a very tumultuous year, to say the least, that Natsupoi kind of helped bring up to a degree. So at the end of the day, both these women benefited from each other. So yeah, I feel like that this has to continue so far with Mitar. So I do think that they are going to retain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. as we talk about the championships and the faces of Stardom and those that truly represent what Stardom is about and raise it to a different standard, you got to talk about one of the top 10, according to PWI anyway, women professional wrestlers of the year, and the current holder of, we've been saying white belt all night. Let's go ahead and finally explain what that's about. The Wonder of Stardom Championship. You might as well call this the stepping stone towards the main goal. The
This
red
is the
belt.
workhorse title, right?
Yeah, you're damn right. She has been the workhorse of Stardom this year. I dare somebody to say otherwise, besides the red belt holder, but I digress. As Saya Kamatani defends the gold against, this is a unique name, Haruka Yamasaki. She is the 16th World of Stardom champion with, get this, 11 successful defenses so far, and only 2 away from tying the longest defense reign holder, Momo Watanabe, which, ironically enough, she has not faced yet during this incredible reign. She's faced the likes of Natsupoi, Maika, Mirai, Starlight Kid, even Utami Hayashita, and of course, as I said most recently, Mina Shirakawa, busting her jaw, and just went with Kairi in a 30-minute draw, which really I felt like was the one true opponent that Saya needed to prove herself against to show that I will continue to defend this championship, and rightfully so, no matter what you say, I am Stardom. You want to talk about Stardom, though? Her competitor, though, she's New Blood. She's from Pro Wrestling Diana. So, again, a bit of an unknown here. So, this is one of those matters that people are like, what? Why is she here facing her? Not a lot of background here, but when it comes to Saya Kamatani, she has been the key face of Stardom, even on the NJPW matches. And so far in NJPW, why she's only been involved in tag team and six-person affairs, she has yet to lose. This has been Saya Kamatani's year more than almost anybody else in Stardom, I feel like. And I think that she's going to end it still holding white belt. Personally, Kuzan, I think she's going to not only hold on to this belt, but surpass Momo Watanabe's record. But I think that she has to beat Momo Watanabe first to fully cement herself as the key player and the rightful holder and the face of the white belt. So I think he's going to retain here, but I think Momo's going to challenge her next. What's your thoughts?
I was gonna say the Momo Watabe idea. I think honestly that's been left on purpose for like a special occasion. Yeah. This Haruka, is that how you say it? Haruka?
Yes, I believe so.
She's still the current like Pro Wrestling Diana Tag Team Champion.
Correct.
So is she like actively working for World Women's Wrestling Diana?
I don't know fully, actually, because I haven't kept up with that one in particular. She's kind of like been in and out here. And actually, she's the one, I confuse people. I'm sorry. She's the one that actually threw a fireball into the ref's face. So, again, she might be a little bit underhanded, but she's definitely been one of the bigger, I would say, hidden gem stories of success in her own right in 2022, why Saya has surpassed people's expectations of success. And this will be 1 year to the day that Saya Kamatani claimed the white belt from the former holder, Tem Nakano.
Yeah. Just a note here. Haruka is only 21 years old. That is young. That is very young.
Again, like I said, some of these athletes are literally in their early 20s, and that is insane to say the least.
Yeah, like that's crazy to think about. And the fact that she's going to be on this show competing for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, that's insane. To be able to like get up to here with like whatever she's been doing, that's an incredible achievement. And honestly, like, I agree with you. I think the championship gets defended, but this Haruka has definitely got a future. Definitely, especially with that like lineup of like what she's already done, and she's already got like a tag team title under her belt still.
There you go.
So
been trying to add more gold to it. Maybe she'll have somebody in her corner. As we know, everyone has that family atmosphere of allies, at least to protect you when you do planchas, it seems.
You need
on the
friends.
on the outside of the ring. So again, I'm curious what she brings against Saya Kamatani, who again has had everything tested, almost every leg every part of her leg broken at times. And again, Summer Kanatani, it's like her Titantron says, she literally rises to the future. She is the golden figure. She is the one that never stays down, and she truly has become the rightful bearer that this championship probably has needed for the longest time since Momo Watanabe lost it.
Yeah.
So again, thank you to Monthly Perosu that gave me a lot of this background into the competitors that are outside of Stardom that I'm still learning a bit about. You talk about Pro Wrestling Diana, you talk about Kato Pro, you talk about Ribbon, you talk about All Japan. It's amazing how many different backgrounds are involved in this show alone. So again, it really shows how much Stardom has kind of really opened its doors to working and showcasing other talent in other companies. And honestly, if Susie Suzuki and Risa Sera aren't regulars in Stardom after this, especially if they win the Artists of Stardom Trios Championships, I would be bloody shocked.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, listen to like how many names we've mentioned of like different companies here. Like, oh, this person came from this place. This group was formed in Ice Ribbon. You know, it's crazy to me that like Stardom has managed to just keep everything together and just not have complete chaos. You know, it is honestly, from what it's looking like, it's a really good time to get into Stardom if you were not into it. It's a
And this
very good time.
and this show literally sets up what literally could be the start of 2023 before Wrestle Kingdom with the Triangle Derby. But everything has to have a starting point, and you have to have the face of your company for that starting point. And as always, as you know, with my content Kuzan, I simply just say what it is and I give it to you because there's only one match left to talk about, and that is the main event. That truly is a match, I feel, not just 1 year in the making, but 3 years in the journey, considering what both these women came into Stardom and what both have done and overcome. So here we go as we talk about the World of Stardom Championship. Siri, and apologies if I said that wrong. Siri, Sui, the 14th champion with 10 successful defenses, defending against the likes of course, Utami Hayashishita most recently. Mariah, of course, became part of her faction. Risa Sera, Ten Nakano, Julia earlier this year, and Lucas on their side of the graphic. And Micah, that was a hell of a match too. Micah, definitely dark horse to watch out for. Watch out she don't become the white belt champion. She defends the gold against the current winner of this year's 5-star Grand Prix. Boy, how things go in the retrospective. Julia, I got a lot to say, but again, it's not about me. Who's on? Take it away. The main event, the story, and who you think has 2023. Not only is the face of Stardom, but the World of Stardom champion.
So, I believe it's pronounced Sayori. I think that's how you pronounce it. I might be wrong. But like she formerly competed in UFC.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is crazy. That is nuts to even think about.
Hi, Tom
And
Lawler.
yeah, like she I know quite a bit about her because I know she was trained by Tajiri, which is awesome. That's so sick.
Buzzsaw kick. Then she uses
Yeah,
that too.
that is so cool. She's been wrestling since, from what I know, since 2008. She did a little bit of like freelancing until she came back to Stardom in 2020, and then she, correct me if I'm wrong, she tried to give it another go in mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where she's at in terms of her mixed martial arts. I think she's just dedicated towards like Stardom at the moment. But oh my god, Julia, from what I've seen, is incredible. She's awesome. She is honestly, she's got everything she needs for character, look, wrestling ability. Um, from what I know, she was born in London, England, but
Correct.
like her mom is Japanese and her dad is Italian.
She's
How
British,
that
Italian,
works?
Japanese.
How that works to me, I have no idea. So all I can think of is that like her mom and dad must have like met each other while they were like doing business. Like her dad owned an Italian restaurant. That's why.
Oh, okay. Well, there you
Yeah.
go.
So apparently she's been doing really well in Ice Ribbon. Then she came to Stardom, and just is running roughshod at the moment. It's honestly nuts to me, like how I've gone from not knowing someone to this is the person everyone's talking about, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, and to me, I think if you want to make Julia champion, now would be the time to do it. Now would definitely be the time to do it and give them some time. You know, Julia's 28 years old. That's young. That is crazy. Again, I keep saying this. It's like these are young women in a
To be fair,
professional.
to be fair, Siri is in her 30s.
Yeah, but like, so it's weird to think about because like when in Japanese culture, once you hit, I believe it's called like the Christmas cake mentality or something. Once you've got past the years of 25, and if you're not married, then you're basically like an old granny, which is bad. That's bad mentality. That's so bad. That's Japanese culture.
Well,
But
yeah,
like
different world.
it's crazy to me that I know so much about this match just looking into this because this is really what pulled me back into Stardom. Um, because Julia's matches are really something to behold. And like again, it's her whole look as well. Um, I really think Julia can do a lot with Stardom. I think honestly, if you want to slap the rocket on her and just let it fly, you're not gonna go wrong anywhere, really. This is probably the way to go.
Probably the way to go. Probably the night to do it. Only time will tell shortly. Yeah, let's go ahead and put this in a perspective, though, for the Stardom run, as you alluded to both when they came into Stardom. So, of course, Julia came into Stardom, literally, like you said, leaving Ribbon and all her people in prominence, relationships, everything, to become a pro wrestler. She was encouraged by the likes of Tomoyo Ishii and Katsuyori Shibata, for example, which really came into play when she came back from injury and readopted her wrestling style. If you notice, when she first came into Stardom with the idea of Donna Del Mundo, Women of the World, and of course current Siri Brand Roughshot, former Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions, might I add, it was Julia who got injured last year, and Siri took the flag herself and moved it forward. Not only winning the 5-star Grand Prix last year after drawing against the previous red belt holder, Utami Hayashita, but once again, as I say, retrospective, only the benchmark was the inaugural one last year. It was last year at Stardom Dream Queendom where Utami Hayashita's incredible reign came to an end and Siri's reign began. And Julia was on the sidelines watching on, but still supported her friend. And then earlier this year in March, it was Julia versus Siri for the red belt, where not only Siri won, Siri decided to start her own faction, God's Eye, and others came and followed, including Mirai. And we all saw what that led to. Mirai even challenged Siri previously for the red belt earlier this year. And you think about Julia, who has been through emotional and physical turmoil, coming back from injury, readopting a much more non-technical, methodical style, just straight up violent and physical, smash mouth, smash face, headbutt, jeez, type style. And of course, she has that bueno knot, guillotine, leg trap hold, submission combo she's also been using towards the wins. We saw her win the 5-star Grand Prix earlier this year. So, does history repeat? Does the 5-star Grand Prix winner win the red belt at the show of Stardom to end the year, despite the fact that Siri, again, she's coming to her own prominence and her own promise at the age of, I think, 32, 33, shades of Filthy Tom Lawler, leaving the worlds of Mitch Marshall UFC to become a professional wrestler. This match truly is a coin toss for me. Why Julia taught with Scott Edwards at Fightful with ambitions to even start her own wrestling company to a degree for women in wrestling. When at first she thought she could be like, maybe a makeup artist and talk about what she's done to relax. It's almost like she's kind of undermining Siri when it comes to her as champion. This is a match of pride itself. It's almost like that was her ace, like lieutenant. You couldn't have two leaders, same faction. Obviously, these two cannot coexist underneath the same family if one was going to surpass the other. That's why Siri decided to venture on her own, and Julia still holds that against her to this day. It's almost like Julia needs this to prove something to herself. Why Siri, at this point, it just might be full closure. She's already beaten her. She knows that she can beat her. Julia has not beaten Siri in a while. The record is 1-1-1. So this breaks it. But this is for also the World of Stardom Championship. With everything Julia has gone through, it does feel like, to put a poetic bow on things, that it should be her time. As, like you said, she's truly become her own character, a main character. Some would say the main character of Stardom. And what will be interesting here if Julia wins this, she would only be the fourth woman in Stardom history to not only hold the white belt, but also the red belt. Io Shirai, Mayu Utami, and Kairi, the three daughters of Stardom, are the only ones to this day that's been able to say that they can do that. No one else has done that. And while Io Shirai has the most defenses at 14, this will be the 11th defense for the 14th World of Stardom champion. And Syria's been virtually unstoppable.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to think about this match when I think about the outlook in 2023. It was Syria and Julia who were there to really present the roses to Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada at the G1 Climax finale. There's a lot of similarities here when you think about it, honestly, to Will Ospreay and Okada with Syria and Julia. While Will Ospreay has yet to overcome Okada when it matters the most on the grand stage of all for the championship, can Julia succeed while Will Ospreay failed? I don't know per se, but for me, for Julia, I feel like to just have full closure, absolute confidence in herself. And I feel to move forward, she does kind of need the win more. So I think I am going to say that Julia finally rises to promise and becomes the World of Stardom champion to, in a way, show like full circle clarity. I feel it will be definitely a show of respect afterwards, too. And we'll see what Siri and God's Eye can continue to do going forward. But why Donna Del Mundo has been a force to show in storytelling and dominance throughout Stardom since the inauguration, despite the fact you have members leave, members come in, etc. It's Julia that's been guiding that force forward, and I feel like she needs to guide it now as the champion. I mean, can she literally go through another year-long struggle or half a year if the Silver tournament works in her favor again? And will that matter still as much? This is the most important day of Stardom's calendar year. So I think I'm going to go with you here. I think that Julia is going to get it done. And what it means for both going forward, who knows? But again, Julia has aspirations. She wants to wrestle across the sea and bring the Stardom name worldwide to fruition. She has big ambitions and aspirations for what she wants to do. And I feel she needs this time in order to do it. So I think I'm going to go with you here. I think Julia needs this more than anybody else right now.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, again, we're going to see if the Stardom Dream Kingdom can hold up to history. Will we see a streak? Will we see a trend? It's only the second one in this company's 11-year history. And again, that says a whole lot. And with Utami Hayashita right now in a battle of pride, with butting heads within the factions, with those that want to step up, will we see any more, hints of dissension? Will we see anybody else join anybody? Will we see the first challenger come forward at the end of the show as well? Only time will tell. But again, as we look towards what is ahead at this show, I'm sure several events from this show will lead into Wrestle Kingdom because, of course, the first thing coming for Stardom is the Triangle Derby. But I really do appreciate Yakuza for coming in here and just, previewing and discussing not only Joshi Pro Wrestling, but Stardom. And I look forward to doing this again. We'll definitely be back here next week to discuss Wrestle Kingdom. And maybe we'll treat that also as a review session for if we got any of our picks right and what surprised us here, too. So I guess before we conclude, and thank you for those that tuned in, please let us know, comment, and tell a friend. And thank you, James, for being along for the ride. Is there anything you want to plug and promote, and where people find you?
Oh, so I, as you could probably see from my icon, I do VTuber streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/Kuzon, Firelord Kuzon. I mainly do video games, honestly. But like again, a lot of my stuff is like Japanese aspired. I love the atmosphere. I love the environments. Currently I'm going through the Sleeping Dogs game, which is set in Hong Kong,
I
not
love
Japan.
that game.
Sleeping Dogs is awesome, dude. It's really good. The story is very well written.
It is.
it's a shame really that the game didn't ever get a sequel, because the
Yeah.
game got tossed around quite a bit in development. But after that, I'll be going through the Yakuza games, which, if you don't know, the Yakuza games, I believe Yakuza 6 has a lot of the New Japan wrestlers as bosses, including Okada. Sidebar, Okada's really difficult to beat.
That's
He's
shocking.
really hard.
The Rainmaker is difficult to beat. Gee, I wonder who knows a thing about that. Will
I try
Ospreay?
I tried beating him once. He whooped me so hard, and I
You got
was like, "Oh
you got hit
no."
with a Rainmaker, didn't you?
He beat me, man, with that Rainmaker, and that was it. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. No, but that's what I do anyway. Yeah. I love doing stuff like this. I love looking at Stardom. I love looking at Japanese wrestling. I oh yeah, I'm gonna try. It's kind of hard to do when you show Japanese content, but with Twitch guidelines and stuff like that, I
Right.
think I can get away with it. I want to go back through some DDT and Pro Wrestling Noah. Have you ever watched a match? I don't know. It was during the pandemic. It was, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember who it was, but like it was just a 30-minute stare down before either wrestler did anything. I can't remember.
What?
Yeah, this was Pro Wrestling Noah just before like WWE asked to buy them, and they went, "No, we're okay, thank you."
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Good
and
lord.
I believe Noah's bought by DDT now, correct? I'm pretty sure like they're
I
like one
think so.
another.
I
Yeah,
think so because yeah, we've seen Pro Wrestling Noah and NJPW, of course, had their crossover with
yeah,
Yokohama Arena, and it wouldn't surprise me knowing that they're going to do a second day of Wrestle Kingdom in January. That's what that day will be dedicated to.
yeah, yeah. Um, the DDT show that I want to watch, it has Damo in it, and he is going through the cyber agent tower. It's a 2-hour show of him just beating people up because he wants to kiss the president of Cyber Agent, and obviously the president of DDT doesn't want him to do that because they'll get
Clearly,
kicked off the show.
that's a friggin' video game arcade mode just
It's
right there.
awesome. I love Dino. He's awesome. He's so cool. But yeah, I'm gonna be trying to get through watching those, and that's the content that I do. So yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here today, Noah.
It's an absolute pleasure, Kuzan. I'm looking very forward to doing it again. So, folks, stay tuned next week. Monday night, we'll be previewing and discussing Wrestle Kingdom as well as giving away our simple takeaways to Stardom Dream Queendom. Again, if you haven't had a chance, check out Stardom World, Stardom Wondering World, Twitter, their website, their streaming platform. Check out the pay per view on the Beamer if you can afford it. And just check out Stardom when you can. Because, again, it's a heck of a
Please,
promotion.
it is so good. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Now is
As
the
simple
time
as
to get
that.
into it.
Yeah, exactly. All you gotta do is look at the flashy character, and then you just wait for the first strike, whether it's Kyrie's ridiculous spinning backhand or zombie Mayu Itami coming back from the grave and knocking somebody out, which still just baffles me.
That's crazy to me, honestly. Yeah, watch
Yeah,
Stardom. It's really good.
that bottom line, simple as that. It's a promotion to watch, folks, in 2023. Just saying. Thank you again, Kuzan. If people, you want to know more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling in all of its forms. So find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at nfoster 1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, my W family on the Twitter. As I said, this has been coverage of Stardom Dream Kingdom 2, our preview, predictions, and outlook on Joshi Pro Wrestling and Stardom 2. Stay tuned for next week for a review. And also, we'll be previewing in full Wrestle Kingdom 17 and so much more to come as we head into 2023. But as always, let it conclude there are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. And then the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, and treasure your families. And just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell unless video goes live or on demand on this channel or anywhere across the Jet Mission Network, Multiverse Media, or FTW Productions. Stay tuned for live coverage as we ring in the new year on the Jet Mission Network, Multiverse Media. Should be a fun stream. Stay tuned for anything that James Hebert's side and constituents also have And, that's an interesting thought now that I think about it. Simply predicting Wrestle Kingdom 17. I mean, if parties are interested and they know a thing or two, I'm not against it. We'll play it by ear. You know what?
Oh yeah.
I'm all about that. The more the merrier. What a way to welcome in the new year. I think we'll do that next week, Monday night. So stay tuned, folks. It will be me, be Kuzan, be James, and who knows who else. And maybe there'll be some live watch-along reaction coverage too, but stay tuned. Until next time, as I always like to leave you all, I wish you a fine adieu and thank you for tuning in too. So I guess till 2023, as far as my simple brand goes, make a positive impact in life, bring forward to yourself a brighter outlook on hopefully a better new year for all of us, and have a good night. Again, yo, and sayonara. Kusan, has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.